Avatar is back, and this is everything you need to know before watching Avatar, Fire and Ash. Welcome back, ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. Now, the Avatar movies take place on Pandora, and the lore of this world is going to be very important in Fire and Ash. So we're going to cover all that backstory, who's Eywa, how Pandora works, and what's up with Kiri and her abilities, who's her dad, and what all of this means for Fire and Ash.
My people cried for help. But Eywa did not come.
Now, Pandora is one of the moons that orbits a gas giant called Polyphemus in the Alpha Centauri system. It is home to the Na'vi. They are 9-foot cat-like aliens with blue skin. As a society, they're divided into clans. Some in the jungle, some on water, some in the air, and even near volcanoes and fire. But all of them live in natural harmony and have a deep connection to their possibly sentient world. You see, everything on Pandora is linked through a global interconnected system. All the trees and the roots have this electrochemical communication like a neural network in a human's brain, or like a biological supercomputer.
Is that there's some kind of electrochemical communication between the roots of the trees.
This network has consciousness, and the Na'vi see it as their deity. They call her Eywa. So it's like the Force, but instead of midichlorians, it's bioluminescent roots and trees that connect to every living being on Pandora.
What the hell have you people been smoking out there? They're just goddamn trees.
The Na'vi can also telepathically communicate with wildlife by linking with their ponytails. And in very spiritual areas, they can even communicate to Eywa, relive and upload their memories, and even visit a spiritual afterlife realm. However, this peaceful equilibrium is disrupted when the humans show up. By the year 2148, Earth is dying because of overpopulation, climate change, wars, and particularly depleting resources. But there's no problems with AI, so I guess we dealt with all that by then. About 40 years before the first movie, this evil megacorporation called the RDA starts colonizing Pandora for a highly valuable mineral called Unobtanium.
Is that like vibranium?
Not exactly. It's an energy conductor that basically fuels Earth's economy, and it also is what makes spaceships go really fast.
Because this little gray rock sells for 20 million a kilo.
So it actually works a lot like the spice from Dune.
Hey there, it's me, Doug. Can I have $1?
Sure thing, buddy. Here you go.
Oh, why thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Who are you talking to?
I was talking to you. Oh, no, Doug. I think somebody stole your identity again.
Ah, jeez.
Buddy, that really sucks. I'm sorry. Hey, true story. Someone in my family, my close family, once had their identity stolen, and then the thief actually filed a tax return in their name and got a tax refund. And I bet you guys all have stories like this too. I mean, everybody I know has been a victim of identity theft and fraud, including myself. One time, I got a call from a rideshare driver in China because somebody had hacked my account.
But how did they steal my identity?
Oh, dude, your info can get stolen in so many ways. Like when you read about a giant data breach on the news, that could also be your data that's getting sold to the highest bidder on the dark web. The only way to be safe is to use Incogni and remove yourself from the internet. Guys, Incogni is by far one of my favorite sponsors that we work with. This is the app they don't want you to know about. You see, the internet is filled with these shady companies called data brokers that pay top dollar for your personal information. And then they sell this information to everyone. And we are talking about sensitive data that can lead to identity theft, stalking, and fraud. Hell, even landlords and employers can monitor your personal info this way. It's really creepy. But those data brokers have to remove the information if you ask them. And Incogni then contacts those companies on your behalf to scrub your data from their servers. And good news, Doug, I just signed you up with my Incogni Family Unlimited plan. This is going to give you access to their custom removal feature, where if you see your info on a website, you contact Incogni and they take care of the rest. So far, Incogni has contacted almost 900 brokers on my behalf, and they have suppressed my information on 821 of them. This is an incredible service. I rarely get spam calls anymore because I have Incogni watching my back. So I highly recommend giving Incogni a try. Use my code ScreenCrush with the link below to get an exclusive deal, 60% off an Incogni plan. That is a great deal that you don't want to miss. Now, back to what I was saying. The thing is, though, that most of this precious unobtainium is hidden under the Na'vi's most sacred sites. So naturally, this creates a conflict with the RDA since they want their floaty rocks.
It's a mineral collection.
And for some reason, these sites are always located next to the floating mountains.
Why do they float?
Well, the simplest explanation is that the mountains are loaded with unobtainium, and the gas giant's magnetic field basically makes everything that has unobtainium inside of it float.
There is something really interesting going on in there biologically.
The thing is that Pandora is extremely hostile to outsiders, probably because Awa doesn't like these humans strip mining her world. And more importantly, the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere makes the air highly toxic to humans. You will be unconscious in 20 seconds and very dead in 4 minutes, so humans must wear breathing masks.
Can't breathe.
Based on the trailers, this will be a key plot point in Fire and Ash.
How is he breathing with no mask? What if every human being on Earth could live here without a mask?
Now, for all these reasons, the Avatar program was created. Humans can link their minds to genetically engineered hybrid human Na'vi bodies. Now, the program was led by Dr. Grace Augustine. She worked toward peace and saw the avatars as a bridge between two people. Now, for a time, Grace was able to form a bond with the Na'vi and even start a school, but it all ended really badly.
The troopers pursued them to the school. They killed Sawanan in the doorway, right in front of Neytiri, and then shot the others.
So now the military commander of the RDA, Colonel Miles Cordage, is gearing up for war, because for him, the only good Na'vi is a dead Na'vi.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah!
He wants to butcher these blue freaks just as much as I'm about to butcher the pronunciation of all their names. And this brings us to the first movie. In 2148, we meet Jake Sully, a paraplegic ex-Marine who lives on the dying Earth. Now, Jake is a good guy who stands up to bullies and protects the weak, but he's a complete outsider and has no purpose in life. But then his twin brother is killed and Jake is recruited to replace him in the Avatar program. Nearly 6 years later, Jake arrives on Pandora. Now, his official mission is to be this bridge between the humans and the Na'vi. But in secret, he's charged with another mission by Colonel Quaritch.
You get me what I need, I'll see to it you get your legs, baby. Your real legs.
He wants Jake to spy on the Na'vi of the Unobtanium clan and get them to leave Home Tree, because the tree sits on top of a massive deposit of Unobtanium, and obviously the RDA wants it all. Now, the moment Jake sets foot in the forest, everything and everyone try to kill him, including this saber space tiger. Now, he is saved by Neytiri. She's a fierce warrior and a daughter to the clan's chief. Her mother is Moat, the spiritual leader of the tribe. Now, these shamans can directly communicate with Awa. At first, Neytiri does not trust Jake, and for good reason. Her sister was actually murdered by the RDA. But then Jake is surrounded by the seeds of the tree souls, which is essentially a sign from Awa.
So he's the chosen one?
Basically, he's like the Paul Atreides of the story.
Listen, I gave.
So Jake is allowed to join the clan, and Neytiri teaches him the ways of her people. He even bonds with the Banshee, and those are like dragons or these sandworms from Dune.
Outstanding.
Jake becomes extremely conflicted then about his loyalties. From the moment he walks on Pandora's soil with his avatar feet, Jake falls in love with the wonder of this world. Among the Na'vi, he is no longer an outsider. But most importantly, Jake is in love with Neytiri, and she kind of likes him too. Also, when Jake first arrives on Pandora, Grace is pretty hostile towards him, but the two develop a friendship as he becomes that very bridge that Grace hoped for. Eventually, Jake is accepted into the clan, and Neytiri takes him to a sacred site, a place where the Na'vi can connect to their ancestors. And there, Jake and Neytiri tangle their cords.
Don't play with that, you'll go blind.
The next morning, everything goes wrong. The RDA starts bulldozing the sacred site, and after Jake attacks them, the humans see him as a traitor.
How's it feel to betray your own race?
So the Na'vi want revenge, and this was Quaritch's plan all along because now the RDA has probable cause to attack Home Tree and butcher the Na'vi. Jake is given one last chance to convince the clan to move, but they refuse, so Quaritch pretty much says,
So you have chosen death.
The Home Tree is destroyed and many Na'vi are massacred. With the help of a rogue RDA pilot, Team Avatar escapes, but Grace is shot by Quaritch. So at this point, Jake is seen as a pariah by the clan, so to regain their trust, he goes after the apex predator of the sky. He bonds with the Toruk, which makes him the Toruk Makto, a legendary warrior who rises to unite the clans in times of great sorrow. Now this is a pretty big deal since there were only 5 others to earn this title over all these generations.
He is the one.
Jake does unite the clans and leads them to one last stand against the RDA. Before the battle, they try to save Grace by transferring her consciousness to her avatar body, but it doesn't work and Grace dies. But in her last moments, she says,
I'm with her, Jake.
And this will make sense in the sequel. Jake also asks for Awa's help in the battle, and when all seems lost, the goddess answers the call by sending all of Pandora's wildlife to help the good guys.
Awa has heard you! But why does she help?
Well, you see, Awa maintains the balance in the force on Pandora, but the humans are literally messing with her ecosystem, so she must intervene to protect this balance. So Mother Nature literally defeats corporate greed.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Hamlin, and I won't have it!
It all comes down to Jake and Neytiri fighting Quaritch. But during the battle, Jake's pod is damaged and he's dying. In the last moment though, Neytiri kills Quaritch and she saves her Jake.
I see you.
Afterwards, the RDA are banished from Pandora and only a few good humans remain. Those include another member of the Avatar program, Norm Spellman, and Dr. Max Patel. So the movie ends with Jake transferring his consciousness to his Avatar body and becoming a real Na'vi boy. Now, Avatar's story hinges on the idea that humans can turn themselves into Na'vi, essentially bluing themselves. So we made this parody shirt of Tobias from Arrested Development announcing that he too has blued himself. And for all of you haters who say that Avatar is just Ferngully in space, you're right, so why not own it with this new Avatar font Ferngully shirt? Guys, we designed these shirts ourselves for you, and shopping our merch store is a great way to support our channel. And now you can also become a member, earn rewards, and get free stuff. Links are below. And this brings us to Avatar, The Way of Water. 14 years later, there is peace on Pandora, and Jake and Neytiri have built a family. Neytiri is the perfect eldest son.
Because you're the older brother, you gotta act like it.
Loak is the younger brother who always gets into trouble, and then there's Tuck, the baby sister. The Sullys also adopted Kiri. She's actually the daughter of Grace.
But I thought she died.
Yes, but her avatar is still alive, but, nobody's home. But somehow, a year after her death, Grace's avatar mysteriously gives birth to Kiri, and nobody knows who's the father.
Is this like the Anakin thing? Is the Force her father?
Well, we don't know that for sure, but yeah, pretty much.
There was no father. I carried him, I gave birth, I raised him.
Now, the implication is that she was conceived by Eywa, and it's more than likely that Kiri is a reincarnation of Grace, but in a new body.
Perfectly not confusing.
Kiri has a powerful bond with Pandora, and she can harness the animals and plants just like Eywa. And remember this for Fire and Ash. Whenever the Na'vi are connected directly to Eywa, the bioluminescent dots start glowing on their bodies. Kiri, though, can access this energy network without even being directly jacked in. A lot like how Neo uses his powers outside of the Matrix. The Sullys also help raise a human boy called Spider. His real name is Miles. He is accepted as part of the family, especially by Kiri, since she and Spider kind of have a thing for each other. Neytiri, though, kind of hates the kid, and this is because he's actually the son of Miles Quaritch.
I am your father.
Also, Spider's mom was a pilot who was killed in that big battle in the first film.
How do we know that? That's not in the movie.
No, it's from the comics. Now, we're focusing only on the movies, but this is a good place to mention that we are aware of the comic books and video games that expand on the Avatar lore. Anyways, the peace and balance are once again broken when the RDA return, and this time, they intend to fully colonize this moon and turn it into humanity's new home, because Earth is dying. And this time, for real. The RDA arrives and burns everything in their path. And I know we just said that we won't talk much about the comics, but I have to mention something big. Jake and the Na'vi attempted to negotiate with the RDA while they were in orbit. It didn't work, and there was a battle in space. I kind of wish that was in the movie, actually. So 1 year later, Jake is leading the resistance movement, making the RDA's colonization efforts difficult. So they bring Quaritch back.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
The RDA created a backup of his brain before his death, and now they can just implant his memories into an avatar body. In an ironic representation of evil capitalism, the RDA found a way to profit from their workers even in death. And it's a warped mirror image of how the Na'vi can transfer human consciousness to avatar bodies, or in Kiri's case, to reincarnate the dead in new bodies.
But why do they need avatar soldiers?
Well, remember, Pandora is hostile to outsiders, but this way, Quaritch and his team can bypass the ecosystem, and Quaritch's mission is to hunt Jake. The RDA believes that the resistance will fall apart without their leader. Quaritch's team captures the Sully kids after Loak takes his siblings into the woods in the middle of a freaking war.
You're not supposed to go to the battlefield. I'll tell Mom if you don't let me come.
Don't pick on her.
And this is pretty much Loak's arc in the movie. His older bro represents the Na'vi that Jake has become over the years. In contrast, Loak reflects the man that Jake used to be. Loak, like his dad, is an outsider. He's constantly trying to prove himself. But this ultimately puts his siblings in danger. Also, Jake is really hard on his sons, treating them as soldiers.
Any more trouble, a jerk a knot in your tail. You read me?
Yes, sir. Leave me, Charlie.
So obviously, his rebellious son rebels. Jake and Neytiri rescue their kids, but Spider is taken captive by his father. Spider's capture compromises the resistance, so the Sullys have to go into hiding and leave the clan. They travel east and find refuge among the Metkayina clan. They're the Sea Clan. Now these are the Na'vi who adapted to the ways of the water, and so they have their own traditions. The Sullys are allowed to join the clan, but at first they're seen as outsiders. Their chief, Tonawaram, is worried that Jake will bring the war to their village. They also face discrimination from others because Jake and his kids are hybrids.
These children are not even true Na'vi.
That's racist.
Now at this point, the movie shifts its focus to the kids, particularly Loak and Kiri. Loak has an immediate crush on the chief's daughter, Tessria. Saraya. I think it's Saraya. He gets into a fight with some bullies, and later they strand him far from the village. Loak is almost eaten by a big fish before he's saved by a tulkun called Payakan.
There's always a bigger fish.
Now, the tulkun are sentient space whales, and they're actually highly intelligent. The sea clans share a strong bond with these whales, seeing them as their brothers and sisters. However, Payakan is an outcast.
Why? What did he do?
Well, the tulkun swore a vow of pacifism, and Payakan broke it. Everyone believes that he killed one of his own, but in truth, he led a revolt against the RDA, and his entire tribe was massacred. The two outsiders then form a bond and become bros.
Bro, that's disgusting!
The Sullys have a hard time adapting to the way of water, but Kiri is a natural because of her strong connection to Eywa. She's basically Rey Skydiver. The other members of the clan see her as a freak, and she's frustrated about her mysterious connection to Eywa.
So what does Eywa's heartbeat sound like?
Mighty.
So the kids take to the Cove of the Ancestors, which hosts their spirit tree. And after plugging in, Kiri sees her mother in the spirit realm, but this triggers a seizure. Jake calls Norm for help, but obviously modern human tech is useless here. Kiri is then saved by Ronal. She is the spiritual leader of the clan and the chief's wife. Norm warns Jake that if Kiri plugs into the spirit tree again, she could die. But all of this leads Quaritch to the sea clans. You see, while the Sullys were learning the ways of water, Quaritch starts forming a bond with Spider, his son. Spider even helps Quaritch and his Avatar soldiers learn the Na'vi ways. But later, when Jake calls Norm for help, Quaritch tracks them to the sea clans. But as Spider starts looking up to his father, Quaritch proves that he's evil when he starts burning down villages to find the Sullys. To lure Jake out in the open, Quaritch joins a tulkun hunting crew. They're after a unique liquid called Amrita, which is harvested from tulkun brains. It basically works like an anti-aging elixir.
I want you to live forever. I want us all to live forever.
Quaritch murders a tribe of tulkun to trick the sea people into a battle. Everybody wants to fight, especially Neytiri. She spends the whole movie being pissed off that they even had to hide. When her father was killed in the Home Tree Massacre, he gave her his bow and told her to protect the people. Running and hiding is like betraying her father and her clan. But she knows the only way to end this is to fight and to kill Quaritch for good.
I will kill you as many times as I have to.
But Jake convinces them to stand down. The war starts anyways after Loak and the other kids rescue Payakan from the hunting party. This allows Quaritch to capture some of the kids, and Jake is forced to surrender himself. However, Payakan attacks the massive ship and the battle ensues. Spider sabotages the ship and turns it into the Titanic. The Sully Bros rescue Spider, but during a gunfight, Loak takes a soldier's life, and Neytiri is shot. And he dies in his parents' arms.
Neytiri!
During the battle, Quaritch captures the Sully daughters, so the family must go rescue them. Jake and Neytiri go Rambo mode, but Quaritch holds a knife to Kiri's throat. Neytiri is in such a dark place that, in her grief and rage, she threatens to kill Spider. Despite Quaritch being so evil, he actually cares for his kid and he lets them go. And then Jake and Quaritch fight as the ship sinks. Loak, who's blamed for his brother's death and pretty much for this whole situation, proves himself by saving his dad with the Way of Water.
I see you, son.
Then Kiri saves everybody with her Eywa powers, and even Spider rescues Quaritch, but ultimately chooses the Sullys over his evil dad. The Sullys lay their son to rest, and his body is absorbed by the spirit tree. This then allows them to see him in the spirit realm.
But how?
Well, the Na'vi upload their memories to the neural network, so those memories and their loved ones exist in the spirit world like a spiritual simulation. In the end, the Sullys become full members of the Sea Clan, and Jake understands that he can't run from this fight anymore. They must make their stand against the evil humans to protect their home. And that is everything you need to know before watching Avatar: Fire and Ash. Did we miss anything? Let me know down in the comments below, or at me on Twitter, Blue Sky Threads, or our free to join Discord server. And big shout out to Pavel T, who wrote and edited this video. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.